you spend enough time around Orange County Soccer Club, probably at some time you've heard the County Line Coalition saying we'll be top of the league again. And while, yes, we are in 7th place, it does start to feel like that might just come true. Good evening and welcome. This is your podcast of your 2021 USL champions. This is the Orange and Black Soccer Cast. Yes, I'm not Ray. You probably heard from my booming NPR voice or lack of hat. Same inability to grow a beard. Glasses. Who knows what the difference was? He's taken a bit of time away from the show. He's probably deserved a vacation at this point because it's just been years and years and years of him mispronouncing things and making fun of Larry. So, it's yours truly, the main man. Number 2, I suppose. But no one wants to actually listen to me speak, so let's meet tonight's guests, contributors, longtime hosts. Brad, how you doing, bud? Welcome to the show.
Normally I'd say after a Wednesday game, I forgot, and after some of the results we had earlier on in the season that were worth forgetting, it feels nice that I can actually remember the game and all 4 goals and vividly rewatched it multiple times, especially that Zubac goal, which was a piece of art. So I'm excited to talk about it tonight.
Yeah, massive congratulations to the new father himself. And let's be honest, his wife, because she was probably the one doing the real work there. He just had to put the ball in the back of the net. That's actually not a euphemism. Hey, DK, welcome to the Orange and Black Soccer Cast. Please pull me out of this hole that I've dug myself.
Well, you're talking about Zubac, and as the joke goes of the CLC, I pretty much signed him. So I took credit for all of his goals, obviously. So I was very happy to see him get a goal and an assist this last weekend. But not only that, but it's 3 games in a row that we have won across all competitions. And the last 2 league games at home have both had 4 goals from Orange County. So I'm stoked, really on a high of what they can potentially keep doing with this momentum. As Brad said, kind of unforgettable, beating Phoenix 4-1 at home. So
I suppose I did bury the lead, so my apologies to everybody. We're a little past the halfway point now. Yes, we are in 7th place, I believe. 7 wins, 2 draws, 7 losses. But we've got a positive goal difference. So real quick, Brad, where is Orange County going to finish at the end of 2025?
Oh,
regular season.
Great question. Regular season, Western Conference only, correct?
Yes.
I will be a little, if recent games are an indicator or anything, we could finish in first. Realistically, I think there probably is some regression back to earlier form, but I think it's safe to say top 3, playing for home games still.
DK, you famously signed Ethan Zubac, as you mentioned earlier. You take credit for all of his goals. Do you also take credit for his misses is the question I want the answer to. And where's Orange County going to finish, of course?
Yeah, I do take credit for those. That's how this whole thing started is, I was a proponent, supporting Zubac at beginning of last season, and, he missed and people kept blaming me for it because I was his supporter. So yeah, I take credit for both. As far as where they're going to finish, I think, if the last, 2 months, really, month and a half at least, of playing has any indication, I think we're going to finish 3rd, is going to be my guess. And I've had some worries, but the past 3 games, it seems like they're really finding their stride, and I want to be hopeful that they're going to continue that stride.
The press is alive and well. So let's jump into this match. 4-1 home victory for Orange County. Of course, celebrating Pride Night. I believe there was yoga on the pitch beforehand. I think there was also some painting action. Someone please correct me if I'm wrong there. And yeah, Ethan Zubac, Ryan Dogman, Bryce Jameson, and Pedro Guimaraes all making the score sheet. It was a pretty great team performance, I want to say. For those of you watching along, I mean, we're about to watch Ethan Zubac just curl one into the top corner. And I mean, this is maybe one of my favorite celebrations because he just kind of looked like, yeah, I mean, whatever, man. I could do that. And then I get to see DK looking real happy afterwards in my favorite flat cap. So wonderful. DK, because you signed him and you've certainly, as his agent or something, you've seen all of his goals. Where does this rank in terms of cleanest finishes?
I think as far as one of his cleanest finishes, this has to be at least top three. I don't have all of his goals for us memorized. I don't have all of his goals for his career memorized, that's for sure. But for us, I would say this is definitely top three. And I think this was a fantastic game. I think he's had a fantastic few games for us, not just for getting goals, but also he's done really well in drawing, the defense, pulling them more back, which is allowing, something that we haven't seen this team do in a while, but have a really high press and attack the defense, which is just exciting to see and has worked out the past few games. So I really like to see that. I think Zubak is a big piece of that whole strategy and tactic. And then also he had a great assist, where really the second goal, which I'm sure we'll see in a little bit now, it kind of looked very similar to what the first goal was, but rather than him cutting back into the middle and taking the shot himself, he took the ball to the end line, passed it back to Dogman, who was able to make the finish. And that's exactly what you want to see. That's what we've been seeing from this team in the past few games, is like a complete team performance, unselfishness. And it's great, and love to see that performance from Zubak.
As an English major, I expected more from you. Wouldn't it be selflessness?
Yeah,
DK?
Yes, I know. I'm sorry. I'll blame it on the beer.
It's good. Ray's not here, but his spirit while on vacation is still alive and well on the show.
Yeah.
So, Brad, it's been a while. Doesn't have to be Zubak's finish. Would you please tell us your favorite goal of last Wednesday night?
I started off the show saying that was like the one I vividly remembered. It was just nice seeing him as a player just kind of make his own space, a la Milan Alofsky there, doing the whole, turnaround and find the open shot and just kind of send it in there. But close second has to be Jameson's shot there. The kid is just showing how composed he is and why a team like Colorado Springs is taking a chance with him, signing us and then loaning him back for the season.
Lucky us. Oh man, yeah. Bryce looks like he's running into form. I believe it was the recap post Oakland match, which was very hopeful and optimistic that he was, he found the back of the net and things were going to turn around for him, and it seems like it has. It's been a slow start for him, perhaps an Ethan Zubak in 2024, but everything's coming apart. Producer Andy would probably want me to correct you and say, hey, it's actually the Rapids and not Colorado Springs. But I do like the Milan Alofsky shout because that felt very Milan-esque, and he's been a man in the news. So, he spent a little bit of time in San Diego, and no one's surprised, and it looks like he's on his way to Philadelphia. I'd have him back here, personally, and that's no disrespect to the players on the pitch. But, congratulations to recent father, or new father, I suppose, Ethan Zubak. I believe his son Harrison was born 3 days before the game, so short on sleep, not short on quality. DK, you were there, obviously, because you make a wonderful appearance in the match highlights. You look better than I typically do in them, so I will give you that. Tell us more just about this match and what it was like, in the stands on a Wednesday night.
On a Wednesday night, it's usually a little bit lower just because it's a weekday game as far as attendance goes. But CLC showed up. That's where I love to be, out there singing, going crazy with those wonderful fans. And I don't think you can complain about anything when when we score four goals, even when it's not a shutout. Like, it's just going crazy, singing the whole time. As you can see in the air as it floats around, there's smoke everywhere. It was fantastic. I think we saw, as we've alluded to a couple times already, like just a great team performance. And I think a lot of that has to go credit to the midfield. and not just this game, but what we've seen in the run of form, is how the midfield is able to control and pass around the opposition has been phenomenal. And you can see that in person, as we might not have had the most possession, but we did the most with the possession that we had. And to me, that's a credit to players like Usman Silla, Chris Hagart, Kevin Partida, who have just been phenomenal in these past few games. And even Stephen Kelly as well. Sorry, I knew I was forgetting one, but Stephen Kelly did great. And we miss Kyle Scott, but I think we have asked this team in his absence to step up, at least one player, and we've seen multiple players step up, especially that midfield, which has been great.
I'm actually glad you brought that up, because it feels like a team that's found a little bit of new life. And I don't think that the team is actually being held back by Kyle Scott in any way. But I do think that perhaps you can't just lay the ball off to him and say, hey, please make some magic happen. Please make a Hollywood pass and get us out of this. Now we're seeing a much better team, albeit, we did concede a goal, and, it's the same old goal, which is a cross kind of towards the far post. This one wasn't knocked down and tapped in. This one was just knocked in the back of the goal. I'm like, what can he do? But yeah, you mentioned not having the majority of the possession, and that's true. Phoenix had 57% of the possession in that match. Congratulations to them. I'll make sure I get a nice little cup and or plate for them that says 57% possession on July 30th, and they can put that in the locker room or whatever. Good for them. Orange County, 43% possession, of course, 8 shots on target. There have been multiple points this season where it never felt like we would get a shot on target. Brad, you watch from afar most of the time, so I think it's almost easier for you to see how this team has changed because you have more of an overview thanks to watching on stream. What differences have you seen in this run? And, do you have a player or two that you've noticed has made the difference for Orange County?
Watching from afar, the number one thing that I have to point out is the team's just playing better, winning the ball back and then doing something with it. Sometimes, we've made comments, we're good at winning the ball, but what do we do from there? But now it seems like, there's coordination, there's multiple people moving forward, there's a plan, and we're starting to capitalize on those. That goal where Zubak passes the ball off and centers it for Dogman, that's a plan there. Zubak would normally be the person just running in the middle there and expecting the ball to come to him. Instead, he selflessly lays it off there. So that on top of, the team is just playing a little bit more aggressively and actually going for second chance, third chance. We could have easily played the second half trying to keep a 1-0 lead. Instead, we scored a second goal, and we needed it because Phoenix then scored a first goal themselves, and then we went and scored 2 more. So it's just nice to see the team is consistently trying to stay in the game and win the game. And instead of just letting the opponent come to them, they're going, and there's a plan when we do have the ball.
I will once again ask you if there's a player that you or two that you would like to shout out.
Bryce Jamison, the kid found his role in the team. It showed in the Oakland game. It showed in this game. He's finding the right spot. And he has the skill and the quality, and he's unlocking it to really make good.
I like it. I'm gonna savor every last minute that we get with Bryce, and I'm happy for him, but at the same time, incredibly sad that we're not going to see him because I really like the way that he's worked under this Danny Stone system. Both of you mentioned this pressing, this high pressing, and hey, what do we do when we get the ball? Sacramento had this similar issue to start the season. They were great if they were pressing high and won the ball and caught a team out in transition. But if you sat back, they did not know what to do. And I think once you don't have a Kyle Scott, and this is no disrespect to Stephen Kelly, but once you don't have a Kyle Scott in your team, it doesn't make sense to sit around and wait for someone to make Hollywood passes when you don't have probably the league's best Hollywood passer just hanging out, waiting to get a ball and put something on a dime for your team. So now we see a change. We press high, and we see our luck start to switch. Sacramento made that change maybe 2 weeks before us, and look at them. They went from 8th to, I think, 2nd in a matter of weeks. It's just that easy. And of course, yes, we're in 7th place, but we've got a match on hand on every team, save for New Mexico ahead of us, and we're still only 3 points out of 4th. So there's all to play for. Brad, I think you had a question for me, unfortunately.
Yeah, so in the 82nd minute, red card, both Shuttler and the Phoenix player Boy go up for the ball. You know, we've made a lot of comments about questionable refereeing calls, and while I don't think this one would have changed the outcome of the game, given it was a 3-1 scoreline, if you're in that position, is that a red card?
Yeah, if you strike an opponent in the throat, that is in fact a sending off every single time, especially if you do it in front of the ref. I don't think you're going to get away with that one. Maybe you get away with it and it gets caught on camera and you serve a nice suspension after the fact. But as our beloved producer Andy points out, it wasn't for knocking Shuttler, though I do think you are asking to get smacked if that happens. And sure enough, Nico was right away on top of him. And I think I bemoaned this earlier in the season. I think when we played, it might have been New Mexico, and something similar happened. And I was like, if you're going to lose 3-0, you might as well lose 3-0 because you get like 4 players sent off. Like, that's way cooler. My hockey brain has truly like ruined my enjoyment of this sport. But that fight was there, and I think maybe that was the missing piece for Orange County. And yeah, it was a red card because seriously, you can't hit dudes above the neck, shoulder, and expect to get away with that. I don't know. I don't think you can have any complaints with that one. I don't think you have any complaints about Zubak being offside. I don't think you have complaints about pretty much any way that this match went, save for maybe the goal we conceded. But you know what? This team was built to win 4-3, 4-2, and evidently 4-1 and 4-0 as well. So we're going on up. Oh, love this. Maddie King says, haven't had a thrill like that since high school. And see, this is why we like a little bit of a fracas after some physical play. It gets the fans going. It's a little more exciting, a little more engaged, and honestly, it just gives, when you're in Nico and Alcazar, not that you need to prove that you're willing to fight for your teammates, but it's good that you get in there and you let your opinion be known.
Yeah, I think really the only maybe frustration that Phoenix could have in that moment is that none of our guys were given yellow cards for kind of inciting the scuffle, right? And I think that a yellow card was maybe deserved to Nico or to Tom. But again, that's just a yellow card for what they did in comparison to the red card, because you can't hit somebody's neck. We saw, one of our players, McNulty, a couple of years ago, get sent off for, he got hit and he went for the neck and he got a red card. We weren't happy about it, but that's what happens.
I very much remember that. I remember being very unhappy with Mark McNulty for that one and not the referee.
He did get kicked, in a not great place.
It's fair, but
yeah,
still,
unfortunately.
I don't want to necessarily discuss this forever, but I don't think you need to book Brewitt nor Benalcazar in that situation. Goalkeepers are so often protected, and rightfully so, because as you launch yourself into the air, you are defenseless. If someone decides to barge into you, you have pretty much no chance of righting yourself. You're going to hit the ground. Dudes can get knocked out that way. Dudes can separate shoulders. You can very easily end a goalkeeper's career doing that. So rightfully they're protected, and rightfully I think your defense will kind of come after that. I mean, if you go in swinging, yeah, you deserve. If you say something that's out of line, but questioning what happened and or running in there to let the opponent know that's not okay, I think is fair game and is not worth a booking. But of course, I'm a homer in this situation. I just so desperately wanted to watch this happen. Oh well. Do either of you, I should say, excuse me, there's only 2 of you this week, do either of you have any final thoughts on Orange County's 4-1 victory over Phoenix Rising?
No, just keep it up. I think I got everything I wanted to say. I just hope they can get another one against Pittsburgh.
Well, Brad, I'm assuming you didn't have anything to say, but
I think he
DK
segued perfectly.
I know. I was going to say that was
ruined
perfect.
it.
So thank you. Hey, it's Bob
I got you guys.
Lilyball, everybody. Pittsburgh currently sitting 5th in the league, 26 points from 18 matches played. Much like Orange County, they've won 5 matches. They've drawn 5, and they've lost 6. Typical to Bob Lilyball, goal difference of 2. So they rarely score a lot of they rarely score a lot of goals, and they tend to win 1-0 a lot. Case in point, they beat Rhode Island 1-0. They beat New Mexico 1-0. Somehow they managed to score 2 goals against Loudoun. They also conceded 2 goals against Loudoun, and then a classic 0-0 draw. So it's been a mixed bag, I think. Lilyball is something of a joke at this point in the league, but it is, of course, effective once you get to the playoffs. Perhaps famously, I think Pittsburgh's last journey out here featured a Bob Lilly team meeting at full time on the field for quite some time, which was a wonderful sight. I certainly know our producer enjoyed it. But as neither of you, I think, ever watched the Eastern Conference, please give me your hottest takes and your least knowledgeable guesses as to what's going to happen. Brad, why don't you start us off with this, please, as the furthest east of all three of us?
Yeah, something. Riverhounds. Oh boy, you covered it pretty well. They don't concede a lot. They don't score a lot. It leads to a lot of draws, which, if you look at their match history, has a lot of draws. However, with that said, you still got some quality players that are just mainstays in the USL. You got Augie Williams up top. You have Mr. You know what, Dick. It's the only time I get to say it on the show. You have Mr. Dick in goal. I love that I get a giggle out of DK on that. But you got a lot of younger players too on this team. So they're playing reasonable. They're middle of the table in the East. I believe near even points to us in the West. However, the East table is just an absolute cluster, more so than ours. So this is going to be an interesting game. It's a little bit earlier than our normal time. It's 7 Eastern since we are traveling cross country, and teams traveling east tend to struggle a little bit more. But I do have faith in Orange County to keep a pretty good defensive effort in this game.
That's fair. And I believe our last trip to Pittsburgh, which might have been the last time we played them. I'm sorry, guys. Life is crazy. Cameron Dunbar scored. I think we won 2-1 very early on in 2024. I believe it was actually the second match of 2024 now that I think about it. And everything felt just peachy. Whoops. DK, is this the Jeff Garner derby and what to expect in this match that Brad didn't already bring up? I mean, he named Augie Williams, and I would be amazed, and Eric Dick, and I would be amazed if anybody else could name a single player on this team because truly, it's Bob Lilyball and it's the Riverhounds. Like, they're going to find 25 random dudes. Sorry, they're going to find 23 random dudes and somehow make it into the postseason every single year. And you're going to go, how? So...
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, Bob Lilly is a USL legend. I think that's who everybody knows with Pittsburgh. They've seen a decent, shuffle of players. So you're right. I don't know any of their other players, especially for a team who's mid-table in the East. I'm not paying attention to all of their games as much as I'm paying attention to more of like a Louisville or Charleston. And maybe I should be. Because they haven't really had a bad season, especially when I quickly looked through their games. The one thing that should scare us is they either hardly lose at home or they have not lost at home yet this season. Like I said, I just did a quick look, but they seem to perform very well at home, just as we've been performing very well at home. And so that could be the only worry for us going there. It's a long travel. Luckily, we have a lot of rest because we had this weekend off. So that could help us in that moment. And thankfully, as far as being hopeful goes, our away match luck has seemed to turn a little bit. Beginning of the season, we didn't win any away games, and then we won one, tied in Loudoun. We just recently won in Oakland. So I think we can keep it up if we have this, run of form continue. I still am confident about the way that we've been playing recently. And with the way that we've been playing recently and the results that we've gotten, I'm okay if we take a draw here. Obviously, I want a victory. I think a loss will set us back a little bit. So I really think we got to come into this and the next few away games that we have with everything that we've got, as this is the second half of the season and every point matters right now. And it'll matter in Pittsburgh. So
it certainly does. Such is the nature when you start the year so poorly. Fortunately for Orange County, perhaps fortunately, I do hope there's just a bit of, well, what about next week for the Riverhounds? Because the Riverhounds will be playing Charleston, who have 41 points from 18 matches and certainly provide much more of a scare than an albeit in form Orange County team. Gents, let's get some score predictions from you. Oh, yes, producer Andy.
Hey, I just wanted to point out, in case nobody looked, if you look at the standings in the East, make sure you look at the number one, how many points first and second place have compared to third place, and look at the goal differential, and then laugh a lot, and then go cry somewhere in a corner.
I was literally thinking the same thing, producer Andy. One of the things that we pointed out is Pittsburgh doesn't score a lot. They also don't get scored on a lot. 15 goals against in 18 games, is pretty impressive. They have very good lockdown defense. 17 goals in 18 games is also unimpressive. So they're not going they're going to play a lot of 1-0 ball, like Dylan had said. And really, I think that favors Orange County, who like to be aggressive and, press. We'll probably see a lot more share of ball this game than we did in prior games, but I think we can ask our guests that later on.
I think this, before we, get to that, I do think this will be a good challenge for the way that we've been currently playing. Since we have been having that high press, it's like we're going to play a team that is very defensive and sits back. So that'll be a test against our kind of new tactics to see if we can pull that off. And yeah, sorry, I killed your Brad. I apologize. I just wanted to throw that out.
I believe Dylan was asking for predictions, though, which neither of us gave.
Right. Neither one of us gave. You're
Either
right.
one of you,
Right.
preferably both at this point.
I'll be quick about it. For all the reasons that we pointed out, I think the defense is playing well. I think our press is, our best part of our game. And now that we have figured out what to do with the ball, 2-0 Orange County on the road. Let's repeat last April.
I'm going to say 1-0. I think Latinovich is going to be back. I think him and Brewitt are going to secure that, and Shuttler are going to secure that shutout. But I think against a defensive team, and with how much luck we've had offensively, that I don't want to get too zealous. So I'll say 1-0 Orange County.
Is it possible to be zealous, or can you only be overzealous or potentially even underzealous? These are questions.
Overzealous, I guess.
No, I mean, honestly, I want to know, because this is just the questions that happen when two English majors take over the show. It gets really bad. Before I give a score prediction, because truly, no one is here to listen to what I have to say, let's actually hear from somebody that, one, is going to have a pretty big input on Saturday night, and two, people might actually want to hear from. So let's welcome him back. Mr. Kevin Partida, welcome back to the Orange and Black Soccer Cast.
Hey guys, how's it going?
It's going well. Thank you for joining us. I can't even tell if that was Brad's dog or potentially yours, but welcome. Oh, it was Brad's. Okay. Kevin, really quickly, 4-1 against Phoenix, and 3 of those goals, I believe, according to our producer, went through you. So, can you run through how your role has changed since Kyle Scott departed and what you're enjoying most out of the last month or so.
Yeah, I mean, I think with Kyle's quality, I definitely lean towards focusing more on the defensive responsibilities and getting him as many touches as possible and getting him the ball as much as possible. And obviously now it seems like the responsibility has to be a little bit shared more evenly across all midfield players and guys that are involved in the build-up. So yeah, that'd probably be the biggest difference that I've personally felt so far.
Got it. And then just being in the team over the last month or so as Orange County's form has picked up, what's the mood like in training and how have things changed? Is it perceptible?
Yeah, I think for sure today was a day where I thought exactly that. The vibes were good, as they say, and it's good because not only are we getting results, but I think, as I heard you guys in the last few minutes, is it's the way we're playing at the moment is a way that gives us confidence that we're earning our wins and not kind of just um, getting them in a lucky manner per se.
Got it. And then a handful of youth players, and yet you remain in the team. So, and it feels insulting to say this, you are only 30. As a senior member of the team, how has your role changed this year over years prior?
No, I think maybe the first year was a little bit of more kind of getting to know the club and leaning a little bit more on guys that had been at the club longer than obviously I had at that time. But no, I think most of the guys, whether new or been with the club for a while, know kind of the way I am, kind of just really just work and try not to speak too much. So I try to lead by example more often than not, and I think that's really what I feel like my role is.
Got it. Well, I had one more for you, and it just completely jettisoned out of my brain because I was thinking about senior player Kevin Partida. So DK, take over for me.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us, Kevin. You kind of already touched up on this a little bit, but I'd love to kind of, hear more about just the team dynamic. Obviously, in the past few games, we have seen it really be a team performance, some unselfish goals, assists, midfield control that has been kind of conducted by you, as Dylan hinted at earlier. And we've had from last season to this season, a lot of new players. So do you really feel like midway through the season that the chemistry between the squad has just hit its peak? That you guys have really grown together. Like, how do you guys feel in the locker room, on the field together? Is it really all coming together as we're seeing it? Or is there still room to grow?
No, yeah, I think you're spot on. I think at least from my standpoint, at least I tend to be pretty pragmatic and try to stay even keeled. So from my end, that's the hope that we've turned a page and really starting to get to know each other, get to really feel comfortable with each other. And no, I mean the hope is definitely to continue this way. And look, obviously we got a stretch on the road now, and I think it's important for us to be able to prove that we can still be that team away from home, and because like it or not, at home there's always that little bit of comfort, and it's always easier, which obviously you can tell from every team's results. But yeah, I think from a personal standpoint, I'm definitely hoping that things continue this way. It definitely feels like it, and I'm sure most of the guys who are been involved feel like this is a couple steps in the right path for sure.
Awesome. And obviously, you've been with Orange County for the past few years now, a little bit more than a few, and you've become a fan favorite. Who's really been pushing into the playoffs, trying to get to that championship game. We all want that. We know the team wants that, but I would love to hear a little bit about this season specifically. What are some personal goals that you've had on the pitch, off the pitch, just in partita wise when you step on? Like, what do you want to achieve?
Yeah, I think I could probably more easily tell you at the beginning of the year what my goals were for the season, and then as the season starts turning, everything just goes. All the focus goes to getting results and the team winning games and that kind of stuff. So I can't really tell you off the top of my head what goals I had at the beginning of the year. Probably had something to do with scoring at least one goal or something like that. But no, I think especially like I said in the first half of the season, as we're kind of trying to find our footing. Um, Compared to now, I think goals can evolve and so at the moment, I think it's to continue pushing and continue, you know, pushing our role really for that top four at this point. And then if we achieve that, then obviously you start to think seriously about really making a run in the playoffs and why not win a championship.
Some, one of the things that we've pointed out over the last couple weeks of the show and really of the season is we got to see a lot of the younger kids starting to play with the Jägermeister Cup. Last two games with Orange County essentially being eliminated were very heavy on younger squad members. Um, as one of those mentor figures, older members, who are some of those players that we should be keeping an eye out for that quote unquote next wave, and players that you have good recommendations on?
No, I think luckily the fans have gotten to see them firsthand in the last, as you mentioned, in the last two games. So I think they've done well to show what each one of them brings. I think Gavin's game specifically was, even for me, a little bit surprising to see in how many tackles he won. I knew he had quality, but I didn't necessarily categorize his game as someone who is a really hard nosed midfielder. So I think from that standpoint, I really enjoyed watching that, and feel like he's gonna keep me on my toes a little bit after seeing that. But and then the rest of the guys, I mean, they all have their different qualities. Obviously, Pedro's gotten a couple goals now, and really all those guys are luckily they got to show what they can bring to the team, and I think they can show that they can be involved a lot more, and we can lean on them to be a part of the team. You know, towards the second half of this league season.
Awesome. So my next question, one of those things going back all the way to your Reno days is you've always been a very scrappy player, earning a lot of yellow cards. And I was looking at the stats, and you got 3 this season for USL Championship, which I thought seems low. Is there any changes that you've made and can really give us insight on for those players looking to play like you? Um, how you stay the same, defensive heavy player and kind of cut back on the bookings?
Uh, uh, I'd probably have to admit that a lot of those had to do with yelling at the officials. So I've tried to tone that down a little bit and have a more different type of relationship with them, and kind of especially with a couple different players in the team who might have that kind of same edge when it comes to talking to them. I try to come at them in a more calm tone, and I think especially if there's some that I recognize, I'm kind of letting them know that I'm coming at everybody a little bit more calm nowadays. So um, seems like it's been working so far, and yeah, hopefully we can avoid a suspension this year.
Well, since Brad's pulled a Brad and he's muted himself, I'll just say something like awesome. And Kevin, we're
Yeah,
pulling for you
yeah,
to
yeah.
not serve as a suspension.
I actually was not going to say awesome for once in my life, but the team posted today uh, something about a today's W team, and it's a photo of you, Shuttler, Vuk, and a couple of the other guys per Chris Hagart's request. What is this about? Is this like on field? Like, what competition did you guys win to get a little school photo on the page?
Yeah, it's just a day where we got to play a little small-sided tournament, and we ended up, at the top of the table when the session ended, and so yeah, some guys are really keen on getting a picture as often as possible. As you can see, I don't think I looked as excited to get a picture as everybody else. I was, practice is over. Okay, let's move on.
I'm right there with you, Kevin. So I absolutely understand. Uh, Okay, we've got a couple fan questions. So really quickly, your energy level is fantastic. How is the squad feeling with regard to injuries and shape? And is this recent streak of success also health related?
I think it very well could be. Obviously, we've still had a couple guys miss some time that, especially, I mean, really at times when, I mean, I guess it's never a good time for an injury, but it definitely feels like we could have used those guys at certain moments of the first half of the season. I think this is one of the most hardworking squads I've been a part of, not just here, but everywhere really, and the club have put together a really good staff this year, from the medical department to the sports performance side, and with that commitment from the players that have all really bought in, I think it's definitely making a difference, especially again, as I keep mentioning, as we move into the second half of the season and really start to see maybe the fruits of our labor as far as that end goes, with all of the gym work and consistency that the guys are really putting in.
Got it. And another fan question or questions. Are you team green or team red salsa on your tacos?
Ooh, that's a great question. Um, I try both. I grab one of each, I give it a little taste, and then I decide.
Kevin Partida, you're a man of culture. And have you tried gnarly sauce? And if so, what do you think of it?
I haven't, but not because I don't want to. I've seen it, on the team page, and I've been interested on what that's about. So maybe after they see this, I'll get to do a tasting of one of those.
Okay, okay. One
Spicy,
for
no?
me.
Someone,
Yeah, I mean, are we
one of the
looking at like
commentators
a
or something was.
yeah? Are we looking at a Kevin Partida Hot Ones episode? Is that what's happening here?
That'd be amazing. I wish. I love that show.
Perfect. We'll get you on. We'll find somehow, some way. Kevin, a few more rapid fire questions before we send you on your way. I asked both Brad and DK earlier, where is Orange County going to finish the 2025 season? In what place?
I definitely put it in the top four. Um, Ideally, man, I'd have to look at the table right now, but we have 14 games to go. Um, yeah, I'd say top four for sure is what we're shooting for, especially like I said, the way we've been playing, and then get that home playoff game to start off with, and ideally at least, ideally two even, but we'll see.
All
Again,
right. Well,
pragmatic, one week at a time. You're making me look too far ahead in the future. I'm thinking about Pittsburgh right now.
fair enough. Well, I was gonna say go break some legs, but don't actually do that. Just make it through those 90 minutes. Who has the worst taste in music on the team right now?
He's gonna say that we pick on him for every little thing, but um, Chris has Chris Hagar has taken people off the aux a couple times, and it's been some very questionable music from all standpoints. So at the moment, I would say Chris. There's some guys that I wouldn't really know what they listen to because they're not brave enough to get on the aux, but yeah, Chris needs some help.
That's fair. How would you compare him to Seth Kasipli of years prior? I know you spent
Yeah,
a lot of time together, so
yeah. I think I mentioned Seth once even on the about for that answer, but I think Seth at least just kind of was wide ranging, just put out there maybe what he thought people wanted to listen to. But Chris has like very specific taste in music, and so like it's all kind of bad, if that makes sense. Like he knows
I
exactly what he wants to listen to, and it's rarely good.
I really hope he's listening, watching. I
Oh,
hope.
he's for sure gonna see this.
Well, smack around in training or something. Maybe don't make sure those photos don't end up on Twitter. Who has the best taste in music? Conversely, you're allowed to say yourself as well.
Uh, my range is pretty narrow. I'll say again, the guys you only really get to see the guys who really jump on the speaker most of the time. But Tom Brewitt plays a lot of music, and a lot of the time it's not something to complain about. So it's pretty good.
It's loyalty to the captain. I like it. Who's
Yeah.
the hardest or who's the best player that you've played against?
Ooh, this all time this year.
We'll say all time.
I'll say Diego Rossi probably. My rookie year had to play left back. So yeah, I think that was actually my first game. Maybe. Yeah, it was not fun.
And you've made it this far, so
Yeah.
probably didn't go as bad as you anticipated.
Bad.
Conversely, who's the best player that you've played with all time?
It's be hard not to say Milan Noloski, especially I think as been a little bit reminded of the kind of player that he was in the last couple months that he spent time in MLS and everything he did. It just again really reminded me of what he was doing for us as well. Those 2 years that he was here and how easily it seemed for him to find goals.
Love it. Kevin, thank you for joining us. Any final messages to the Orange County fans and supporters?
Yeah, just thank you always. I mean, I'm constantly reminding myself of how lucky we are to have them as fans. At the Champ every week that we get to play at home, we try to take advantage of those situations as much as possible. And as I mentioned before, the couple times that I've had to sit in the stands or miss a game for whatever reason, I really feel, how much they care for us and care for the club. And so just thank you for the support this far, and we hope to have a lot of good moments in the next few months.
Kevin, I think we'll see you at a home playoff game. Thank you for joining us tonight. Best of luck on Saturday.
Thanks, guys. Good to see you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, at this point, it almost feels like midfielder emeritus, Kevin Partida. I like the top four shout. I really do. I'm glad he's in line with you too. I guess I should have asked him what he thought the score was going to be on Saturday night, so I could have just used his score prediction. But Brad's shaking his head, so I guess I'm not allowed to do that. I mean, I can't believe there's rules. I wasn't just going to pick 5-0 Pittsburgh.
I know. I still think we got to hear a number from you, though, Dylan.
I'm going to say 2-0 Orange County. Nice and boring.
Stealing Brad's.
I think when Pittsburgh pushes for an equalizer, we can probably hit him with a second one. While we reach the ending of our show, the resolution, if you will, do either of you have anything to share? Any random soccer news? Maybe not one piece of soccer news, but something else that's been approved? No, okay, two blank looks on your eye like that. Yeah. Are we bad at podcasting? I mean, I understand it's been years, but we just sit there in silence and shake our heads as if
all our thoughts are on Orange County right now, so it's hard to think of random soccer news because I've just been wanting this new Pittsburgh game.
Who cares about preseason in the world? Like, there's been a bunch of games, but they mean nothing. So, like,
yeah, exactly. I mean, we could talk about, in honor of Ray, how one of Tottenham's stars' son has moved to MLS, showing the more retirement league aspect of it, which I'm sure hurt him a little bit, but.
That's okay. He's on vacation, so he doesn't have to think about it.
Yeah, but we can still show out.
Enjoy the beach.
In honor of him, we can give him his Tottenham shout out.
There we go.
Someone
want to talk about youth soccer while we're here? I mean, please. In happier news for MLS and shots. Well, fitting. It's Milan Noloski after all. In signs that it's not just a retirement league, Milan Noloski apparently, $900,000 transfer fee. From Northland to the Philly Union officially, after apparently San Diego balked at bringing him back home after he managed to, I think, just kind of single-handedly propel them up the standings. I mean, he scored 4 goals and a half, and I don't understand how you don't close the deal after that happens. Like, he's a proven goal scorer at the USL level. He's a proven goal scorer at the MLS level. But hey, good job, Megatron FC. Just a reminder that the Loyals died for that. Rest in peace, just so. All right. Larry missed tonight because I don't injury or something. I don't know. He would just like everybody to know that he took a ball not to the face but to the shoulder or something. I don't know. Ray's on vacation. DK, thank you for being here. Brad, thank you for being here. Brad, what'd you learn tonight?
I don't know if I learned much about nothing tonight. It was just a nice little episode. Looking forward to another weekend and hopefully a good game on Saturday.
Much about nothing. Whatever. Hey, DK, what'd you learn?
I learned that Partida is truly a man of culture by trying both the red and the green salsa on his tacos. I do the exact same thing. It depends on the place, right? Some places have fantastic green, some places have fantastic red. You just have to figure it out, and they're both worth a try. So I'm with
there. And I feel like I'm about to get canceled off the show personally. But
do both.
The jungle juice.
Yeah. You can do both. I've
not?
100% done that. So
it's tacos, baby. There's no rules.
Yeah, exactly.
Except for just getting them down your gullet as fast as you possibly can. That's the only thing that matters. All right.
What about you, Dylan? What'd you learn?
Unfortunately, it was going to be that.
No dying.
I learned that Brad probably needs to take a. And now he's muted himself. A long time to mute yourself, but you're a little late. I've learned that we're just as professional as ever. Actually, it was going to be that Kevin Partida is a man of culture because of the red and green sauce thing. So I'm actually very annoyed that we share a brain in this regard. But yeah, I will just go with the surprise that he only has 2. I think it's 2 yellow cards this year. I don't think it's 3. And Brad's coughing, so he can't defend himself. So
he's confident it's 3.
He's confident it's 3.
Is that an all league or all competitions?
I believe it. He's only received yellow cards.
3. It's 3.
Okay.
Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know anything, man.
But that's a far away from suspension, so let's hope he...
I learned I don't like being Ray, so I can't wait for his vacation to end because I don't like speaking this much. This feels like long overdue, but to everybody who listened. Oh, actually, one final thing. I feel like maybe this doesn't need to be said, but hey, if you are maybe new to the show and you haven't been around for 5 years, we're not media experts. We certainly try. We're pretty good at writing. We're pretty good at social media. Sometimes we make mistakes. Hey, we're doing our best. Sometimes we make mistakes. Give us a little bit of grace. I promise we're not actually trying to antagonize you. And if you're confused about the way that we feel on the show, it's not a show that's down with hate. I'll put that probably that way to be as open-ended as possible. So give us a little bit of grace. We'll afford you plenty in return. And thank you for being here, as always, to you two, to producer Andy, to everybody who listened live, and if you find yourself listening after the fact, to you as well. I wish you a peaceful, wonderful week. May Orange County get 3 points on Saturday night. For, the last person here, producer Andy, this has been the Orange Black Soccer Cast. We are out.